I built my career around giving advice to women, right? Like whether it's been business advice, life advice, how to be a boss babe, how to build your confidence. And that's what I'm kind of known for, for the past 17 years since I started my blog. And I never gave advice when it came to love because I was married.
Your latest book. Oh my God. I binged it. What for you is the most overrated love cliche and why?
Oh my goodness, that's a good question. I think the notion of marriage.
Are you ready to embrace the best version of yourself? I'm Jen Helliwell, design and fashion creator, and I am on a mission to inspire, motivate, and uplift women to be just that through my platform and podcast, This Girl Can Talk. Hey, fabulous ladies, welcome back to the pod. Have you washed your hair? If not, don't stress. Do it right after because you don't want to go anywhere. This is going to be a great episode. You may notice I am not in my usual studio surroundings. That's right, I am at home doing this for the first time remotely because I have an awesome, and that's my worst and last American accent, I hope, for the evening, all the way from NYC. She is a boss babe. In fact, I would go as far as to say she is the boss babe. A queen. And I want to say this line for the pod because it sounds so good. A queen from Queens. But I have no reference to say that she is actually from Queens. But I know this girl and I know that she would rock with that and say, okay, Jen, just say I am. So let's just go with it. She is a queen from Queens. My guest today is the most fabulous best-selling author, empowerment coach, and creator of the super, super successful blog, Cara Says It All. I've just told you. Okay, it's Cara Alwill. She is awesome, aka the Champagne Diet. Cara is dedicated to helping women amplify their voices and step into their power. With over 300,000 books sold worldwide, her work has been translated into 10 languages, including French, Ukrainian, Chinese, and Russian. From self-publishing to partnering with major publishers like Penguin Random House, Cara's literary career is a testament to her grit, authenticity, and unwavering commitment to and belief in women's potential. Through programs like Literary Queens, Own Your Voice, Craft Your Story, Create Your Publishing Empire on Substack, and beyond, as well as Iconic and Girl on Fire, the masterclass, Cara mentors women to build impactful brands rooted in their own unique voices. However, all these huge things aside, and I mean they are huge, who is Cara? I'm going to tell you from my experience who Cara is. She is high energy. She is inspirational. She's real. She is modern. She has, and she does, because I stand testament to it, empowers countless women to launch books, build communities, and live out their stories with confidence and pride. Whether she's coaching clients, writing her bestsellers, or speaking on stage, Cara is committed to showing women that their voices matter and that their stories deserve to be heard. I told you this is going to be a great one. Stay tuned and we're going to have a good old chat with Cara. Hi, Cara. Welcome to the pod. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's really, really great. I mean, we have a whole backstory why I'm so lucky to have you on my pod at such an early stage in my podcasting. Before we get into that, where I start with all of my guests, you're fabulous. It's circa 9:30 in the morning for you.
Yep.
Yeah. What are you wearing? What are you rocking at the moment? You look fabulous.
I am rocking a Ramones sweatshirt that I love, that I just got. It's from Daydreamer, I think. My little New York nameplate, some jeans, rings, nothing crazy, just casual morning vibe.
You always look so good. Do you know what?
Thank you.
I'm laughing actually because this is how the backstory happens with Cara and I. When I first met you, it was I had to check how long it was. It was September 2023 or just before then, because that's when I joined your This Girl on Fire masterclass. I was deciding what to wear tonight on the pod because tonight I'm in Dubai, so it's 6:30 or just gone that now. And I was like, oh, what to wear? I'm home from work. I'd listened to your podcast recently where you did the really good one where you're like, clothes keep energy, get rid of them, your dirty sweatpants that have rips and holes. And I was like, shit, up to my wardrobe, getting rid of all those ones. And then when I was thinking about this podcast, I was like, I was that girl because when I signed up to your masterclass, I was in a really different place to where I am now. It was pretty dark and I was desperate. And I know you can relate to that stage in your life where you're grappling and trying so hard. You're lonely and you would literally do anything that pops up on your feed. If that's going to kind of, I want to say scratch that itch, but it's not that. It's just like you want something to help. You came up and it was This Girl is on Fire. It was on Facebook. In fact, I heard you speak on a lady here in Dubai's podcast, Caroline Stanberry, and I just loved your energy, everything about it. And I've been following you since. So I signed up without anything really. We chatted really quickly and I was like, I got it. I'm in, I'm on. And then because I was in such a weird place, I didn't realize that it was on New York time. And I would set myself up to wake up at 2:30 in the morning for 8 weeks running to join the class. And I was like, oh my God. But I was like, done. I'm committed. I've signed up to this and I did it. But I showed up at 2:30 in the morning with you and all the amazing girls that were on that class in pajamas, literally in like my dirty sweatshirt, like, and I was like, and I had no makeup on and I was like, I'm sorry. And maybe it was me crying or one of the other girls crying or whatever. So I came home from work this evening and I put on not horrible pajamas, but I put on my nice silk pajamas and they say more joy.
I love them. I love a pair of silk pajamas. It's like my favorite. I have like all different patterns and colors. It's like I live in those.
Well, I know I'm moving to a new apartment soon and I'm like, I'm only going to wear silk pajamas, but I know that's a lie. Because like, no, I'll still wear those big old t-shirts, but I'm telling myself that. Sorry. Anyway, so I'm here. I'm in pajamas, but in a very different state. And it's hugely due to you because you were the beginning of that journey. So I am so grateful. And I would scream it from the rooftops for anyone and everyone to connect with you, follow you, and read your books, sign up to your classes, everything and anything, because you've got me to where I am today, which is amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm so proud of you. And it's a testament to you, though, for showing up for yourself because so many of us say we want to change, but are you really going to get up at 2:30 in the morning? Are you really going to show up, in pajamas? Are you going to do the things you need to do that are hard, to make those changes? Because it's not easy to change your life. And I think we fantasize about what we want, but we don't realize what it takes to actually get there. And you did. So I think that's awesome.
So, speaking of awesome, brilliant, awe-inspiring, your latest book, oh my God, I binged it. Well, the first 10 chapters. I'm waiting for the finale that will come when it's in the paperback or hardback. But can you can you just indulge my listeners because it is so good, so good. It's so honest, and yeah, just give it. Tell us.
Yeah. So, I built my career around giving advice to women, right? Like whether it's been business advice, life advice, how to be a boss babe, how to build your confidence. And that's what I'm kind of known for, for the past 17 years since I started my blog. And I never gave advice when it came to love because I was married and probably half of my marriage felt, a little abnormal, a little different. Something didn't feel right. The beginning of my marriage was great. I got married, I was in love, and then we just really drifted apart. And I knew that I wanted to get a divorce because I felt like I was living so authentically in every other area, but I wasn't authentic in my relationship. So I finally did get my divorce in January of 2020. So it was like right before COVID hit because I have impeccable timing. I had no idea that was going to happen. But I knew that I was turning 40 that year. And I was like, I just don't want to keep going like this. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to my ex. And we were great friends, but we were just like roommates at that point. I was like, he deserves to find real love. I deserve to find real love again. Like, let's just call this what it is. So we broke up. I initiated the divorce. I, as I say, switched all the light bulbs to pink in my apartment. I reclaimed all my closet space, and I was just like really excited to be single again and to be 40 and have this whole new world ahead of me. And then COVID happened and we were in lockdown, and I did turn 40. And then by the time that I could get out there and start dating, it was like 2021. And it was so different than I thought it was going to be. It was like dating apps were a thing, and people were like in situationships. I didn't know what a situationship was because it didn't exist, 10 or 20 years ago when we were younger. So everything, like, it felt like the rules had changed and I didn't know what they were. And I was very delusional, and not in a good way. It's very much like, this is just how it's supposed to go. I'm just going to meet my next husband. And it wasn't like that. And it was really challenging for me. And I felt like I wanted to talk about it, but I was not getting it right. And everything else in my life I had gotten right. I got it right in business. I got it right in building my brand and just, living the lifestyle that I want to live. So I was really grappling with the idea of writing about dating because I felt like I didn't have advice to offer because I was just failing miserably. But then I was like, I don't know. There's something kind of cool about the fact that I am failing. It's like it's so different than what I've, done before. So maybe I should just talk about it. Like maybe I should just talk and write about the messiness and the craziness that is dating in your 40s post divorce. So I did. And I started writing this book. And then I launched my Substack almost 2 years ago. And I just started to write about all of my misadventures in the dating world. And the book is called Don't Do Anything I Would Do. It's a little play on Don't Do Anything I Wouldn't Do because, it's like, don't follow my advice unless you want to be totally unhinged and crazy. But I will say, sharing all of the messy stuff and sharing all of the mistakes, if you will, has actually brought me closer to my audience than ever because I think it's just real life. It's like, it's just real. It's like, it is a shit show when you start dating again after your divorce. You're a little bit crazy. You're a little bit out of sorts. You're a little bit just like, what's going on? And it just, I don't know, it created like a whole different path for me. And it's just been really fun. And it's been a learning process for me. And it's just been fun, I think, to share everything with
I
everyone.
think it's so good. Like, I couldn't stop reading, and so relatable. And I just instantly thought, like, my girlfriends need to read this, not just my single girlfriends that are also in their 40s that are dating or not dating or scared to date, but it's all women, right? And maybe not just women, because I find before, when I was single before I got married, everyone was interested. Probably the people that were married wanted to know about my dating life. Everyone is obsessed with the dating, right? If you're in a relationship, if you're out of a relationship, if you're dating, everyone is nosy. They want to know what's going on. So this stuff is like, even my mom would want to know, right? The people want to know. And if you are brave enough to really, like, you talk to your girlfriends about it or whatever, but if you're really brave enough to talk about it, my God, look at the comments on your Substack of the women. They can't wait for the next bit because they just don't feel so alone, because it is lonely. It's lonely and it's freaking weird. It's weird these days, right? It's weird. And I, like, I can very much kind of relate to what you're talking about. Not that I've dipped my toe in that water yet, but you know, certain situations, and it's so good because when you talk to your friends are always going to have your back and say, like, that's a weird situation, like, of course that's weird or whatever. But talking on a main scale about it, it just helps you definitely not feel alone. And that's kind of what I'm doing through my platform, talking about every which failure. And it's so important that we do it. So I want to make this space for us and for my listeners more your latest speciality, love. So, what for you is the most overrated love cliche and why?
Oh my goodness, that's a good question. I think the notion of marriage is a little bit overrated, to be honest. I mean, I feel like everybody wants it. Everybody wants a big wedding. They want the ring. They want all this. But when it comes down to it, like, what are your reasons for wanting it, right? Like, I always ask that to women who have never been married. I think, especially coming from someone who's divorced, I think if you want to be with someone, why do you need a piece of paper? Why do you need to have that whole security, if you will? I almost think it's more romantic to choose to be with somebody every day and not be married to them and just still show up to that relationship committed and in love.
Yeah, that is so nice. I just watched this film. It's such a cute film. I think it's called The Book Club Reunion, and it's like these women. Have you seen it?
No.
It's very cute. It's these women, they're all in their 70s and they have a book club and it's COVID hits and they can't meet. And then when they next meet up, they go on this trip they've always wanted to take to Italy. And one of them is getting married for the first time and she's in her 70s. Fast forward at the end of the film, I'm spoiling it, but she gets like, I don't really want to do this. Why am I doing this? I just want to be with him. So he surprises her with this wedding. And then he says at the altar, will you just not marry me? And she's like, "Yes." And then they just stay together. And it's just the cutest thing because she's like, why do we need to put this label on something? Like, I've been free all my life. I've been this free spirit. I've had this great life. And he's just this really great guy. And they're just like walk back down the aisle being them. And it's just so cute. It's like, so just what you said, it's a really sweet idea. It's like, why do you need that? Why do you need to be somebody's or be part of a Mr. and Mrs., my better half, or, that kind of thing. It's kind of empowering.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh God, good one. You may or may not be able to answer this. What's the wildest dating experience that you've ever had?
There's been so many. The wildest dating experience. I mean, I think my last relationship was pretty wild. I met him doing a show, like a storytelling show, and we were both writers and we were both cast in the show and we were on a Zoom rehearsal and I saw him on the Zoom rehearsal and he was talking about music and he just seemed like really charismatic and cool and I followed him on Instagram like on the Zoom and he lives in Florida and I live in New York and I followed him and he followed me back and we started DMing. We FaceTimed like the next day and then he 2 weeks later he came to stay with me in New York and we were together for like for a while. So, yeah, it was like it's funny, we were talking about it once, and he's like, "We never went on, like, a date. Like, we never had a first date. Like, I just flew to New York and stayed with you for 4 days. Like, that was our first date, and we fell in love." So, it definitely happens when you don't expect it. That was probably the one that took me by surprise the most.
I mean, there is a good one. Save it because it's in the book. But the Miami trip,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
That's sort of like read the book. Now you have to read the book. Um, this one is probably like the premise of my pod, and it's the most serious one we'll get to, but it's kind of it does touch on your last one, and because I know you, I know that you've been through some incredibly tough moments, particularly with that past relationship that turned out to be a lot different than what you had expected. And at that time, it struck a really big chord with me because, as you know, of my personal story of what's happened in the last few years. So if you're open to it, could you share a little bit about how you navigated, maybe not during that time, but the post of that time? Because I thought it was so, I don't know if noble's the right word. I was so in awe of you, of how you dealt with that or chose to deal with that on your social media. For me, that wasn't an easy thing to do, and most people wouldn't have done that. You faced it front on. How did you come to the idea to do, the courage to do that, I guess?
That was the first relationship that I really was like public about and really shared him. And he was very public. He had a social media presence. So it just made sense. We were in love and, you never think anything's going to go wrong. So I shared everything and people got really invested in our relationship and it gave a lot of people hope. And then when things kind of, yeah, then when things kind of felt, well, you're going to love the book because it's a wild ending anyway, when things kind of fell apart, I was like, okay, I can't just act like, nothing's going on because people have an expectation and you develop a relationship with your audience and your community. So I knew that I had to address it and I didn't want to like throw him under the bus completely because he is a single dad with 3 daughters and his girls and I are very close, like still. And I know that they look up to me and I didn't want to just totally I also don't believe in like trashing anyone. I think we're all humans and we make mistakes you know, it turned out, like, later on, much later on, when we really did talk about it and he got into therapy and things shifted a lot, like I met him at a really bad time in his life. I met him post-divorce. I was post-divorce, but he hadn't gone through. He wasn't done with his crazy and I was, and I was ready, and he had a lot of past stuff that trickled into the present. And I knew that I still like really loved him, and it's really difficult. I walked away from that relationship and I think it's really difficult. People don't talk enough about walking away when you're still in love with somebody. So I didn't really I was angry, of course. I was confused and I was feeling all the feels and I really just wanted to address it and like let people know that I chose myself and I chose to walk away because at that time that relationship didn't feel right anymore. And I knew that it could not have gone on and it couldn't have gone through he couldn't have gone through his stuff with me there. So I just chose to talk about it and share it in the most non, you know, I wanted to be honest, but I didn't want to be cruel. So I hope that that came across.
It completely did, Cara. You did it in the most gracious. It was really, you handled it so well. I was so proud of you. My heart was breaking for you, but I was so proud of you. So
Thank you.
I loved it. Well done. And I know that you will have helped a lot of people, a lot of people. And I know that a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people show all the stuff and then you just hear nothing more and it's just all brushed under the carpet. And that's okay too, because it's not easy, right? It's not easy. Life on life's terms, it's very easy to talk about all the good stuff and all the great stuff. But that's why I really love and admire you so much and why you've helped me so much because we need the real stuff, the highs, the lows, the kind of there's not much going on today, but it is what it is, because that's what we all have every day. I have these WhatsApp groups with my friends, and thank God we're all not low on the same day because it's something different every day, right? And you need to lift each other up, and every day is going to be different. But I think it's almost like kind of each to their own. But as I embark upon this journey for myself, I hope when I start to get the courage to be on social media more, I hope that I use it as kind of it's my owe it to your listeners to be brutally honest and give the full picture. If you're going to give a bit, give it all.
Yeah, and I think what I've tried to do is like pause before I share, because it's easy to share in the moment in the heat of things, but I need time to process. So I kind of let myself process it and then I share it like after the fact. So that's just a tip I think for anybody listening that does write about their life. I mean, like that's literally what I do for a living. Like, so, there's a fine line between sharing everything in real time and taking a minute and going, okay, what have I learned from this situation? How have I grown? And what do I want to teach people through it? Even if it's not necessarily the right thing, right? Like I say, don't do anything I would do. Do what you would do what feels right to you. I think that's the whole premise of the book and everything. It's like, follow your heart. Like I give the craziest breakup advice. I'm like, if you want to call that guy drunk, like do it. Send the unhinged text, send the 12 paragraphs. Like do what you need to do to move through the process, not what a TikTok therapist tells you to do or some random person tells you to do. It's like love is so personal. And I don't think people really understand that. I think it's easy to judge or easy to think you should be, responding in a certain way, but it really is such a personal thing.
It so is. And you should never have to apologize for it. What goes on
Mhm.
between two people, nobody really knows. Nobody
Yeah.
gets that. They don't get the emotions. And you just perfectly answered my next question because I the advice you would give someone in those stages. Okay, here's a good one. From your experience, how do you spot the red flags or even the pink flags? Give it to us. We need to know.
The red flags. I think when it's the thing, like it's not what your friends think are the red flags. It's what you know in your heart of hearts. Like you get a certain feeling something is off. I went on a date with a guy a couple months ago and he seemed really cool. I met him on a dating app and he seemed funny, but I was like, he just seems a little intense. Like there's just something about this guy that feels a little bit too much. And then sure enough on the date, it was like I was watching a monologue. Like he didn't ask me one question about myself and he just seemed weird, and then he got really weird with me, like, he was, like, kind of insulting, but also complimenting me, and I was like, "This is not my person, like, this guy's really insecure," like, I just felt it off the bat, and then I never spoke to him again, so in the past, I might have been like, "Well, let me just see, maybe I can maybe I'm being too hard on him, maybe I'm, I don't know, being too picky, but like, no, trust yourself. When something feels off, it feels off. But like, don't run to your friends and ask them their opinion before you consult with your own intuition.
Yeah. I think definitely that's something that's come for me through going through what I've gone through. You take the time, and it's all about knowing yourself and your values and everything you stand for. It's I'm annoyed, but I'm happy that I'm at that place now, but I'm annoyed it's taken me that long to get there, because before I was this little people pleaser, like, oh, just like me, like me. If you like me, then I'll like you. And yay, that's great. And it's all gonna be perfect. And I can make this happy and I'll make you happy. And now it's like, well, I sure as hell deserve a seat at this table. Like, well, you are lucky to be having dinner with me as much as I'm lucky to be having dinner with you. So 100% as you get, and I think that's a major gift, right? Of going through something so major. You wouldn't risk ever again getting into something that, you definitely do see those, like I say, I'm even looking for pink flags because it's not worth it. It's just not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you watch the show Love is Blind?
No, but I need to watch it. Actually, no, they do it in the UK and in America. They do it all over. But I started watching it, the UK one, and I've been going because of everything. So certain shows and certain things, I've been like, I just can't. But I'm at that stage now where I'm kind of like, I can do this. I'm into this now. I'm ready to embrace all of these things. And I saw someone was watching it, the US one, and it looked really good. So I think I'm ready to get into these. As I say, I'm moving, so I'm ready. And you said when you moved apartment, it was a game changer. Like moving buildings is all new energy. So yeah, I feel like I'm ready to move into this new thing and then watching all the love shows, all the new energy around me.
Yeah, it's interesting though because that one actually reminds me of what you just said about like being chosen versus choosing someone. I was watching it last night actually, and the girls came in really confident in the beginning. And then towards the end, they were like sort of insecure and they were saying to the guy, like, I just want to know you're choosing me. Like, I don't want you to choose her. Like, I want to know I'm your number one. Like, I want to be chosen. And I'm like, girl, you should be choosing him just as much. Like, just like to your point, like, yeah, they're lucky to be having dinner with you as well. And I think that we forget sometimes that we're deciding if that person is right for us in the dating process. It's not like, does he like me? It's like, do I like him?
Why would we accept anything less? And you literally need like your girlfriends all around you all the time to be like, no, no.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm a believer in chemistry for sure. And it's not even just necessarily that like he's hot, but like a chemistry you feel with somebody. You can't feel it through a screen, in my opinion. I really don't think that you can see it in a photo. Maybe like the Zoom interview that I was on where I met my guy, like that was different because you could feel but like just a screen with a photo of somebody, like no, it doesn't do it for me.
No, it doesn't. Like you have to have that connection. There has to be something about them. That's why we don't all like the same person. That's who you're going to be. And I think definitely that's kind of a thing that's definitely changed in me. It's like, why show up and be someone else or try and be like, oh, it's okay. Like you choose what we have for dinner, or no, I want to pick something off the menu actually, or I want to do this or I want to do that, and that's who they're going to get at the end of the day throughout life, and that's where you're going to connect. So I love that answer. Okay, last serious one, and then we'll go into the fun quick fire. What is the most unexpected lesson you learned from a past relationship, and how has it helped you grow?
I think I've learned that a man can change when he wants to change. And I always said, men can't change. This is who they are. Once they've done this, they'll do it forever. And I've been pleasantly surprised to see that they actually can, but it's not just a decision. It takes work. It takes actual work. So I've learned to kind of just let people make that decision to grow and evolve on their own terms and not feel like I am the one that can fix them or change them. Like letting something go, letting somebody go, letting them grow and do their thing. And I've seen it happen in multiple relationships. There was a guy that I dated a couple years ago and he was a complete mess, like druggy, big drinker. And like he really did. I mean, I don't know him well, but I've heard through the grapevine that he's kind of like turned things around. And I'm like, that's amazing. And I think I was very judgmental. I mean, even my ex-husband changed. I let him go and he's in his new relationship and he's improved a lot of things about his life and he's really happy. So I think men can change, but we're not responsible for changing them, if that makes sense.
I totally agree with that. I think that's really, really good. You know, and it's like, look at us. We've both changed, right?
That's my job, right? Like, how could I ever say men don't change if my job, my whole life and my life's work is built around helping people change. So again, I'm not the life coach. I shouldn't be his therapist or his coach to make him change. It's got to be on his own terms. But they can when they want to, and when it is something that comes from their own, decision. I think men have to feel like things are their decision, right? Like nobody wants to be told what to do.
Cara, you're so full of good advice. I love. Okay, we're gonna end soon, but have had so many girls been like, "You've got Cara Alwill on your podcast." What? Oh my god, I'm fangirling. I'm fangirling, and I was like, "Oh, she's kind of a friend." So they definitely all as well, and obviously being in Dubai, everyone's like, "Oh my god, you live in Dubai," but actually, when you live here, it's like, "Oh my god, but you live in New York. You live where Miami. You live wherever." So everyone wants to know what's the next big thing, what we want to follow. So I always ask my guests some quick fire questions at the end to give us some of the in stuff in New York or like what you're doing. So what at the moment is the best podcast that you're listening to?
I'm not a huge podcast fan, but I've been into Kristen Cavallari's podcast. I think it's called Let's Be Honest or something. Yeah, I've listened to a couple clips of that. It's good.
I saw her and she was recording it and it looked like if it was her house. Oh my God, the interiors are beautiful.
Oh, I know.
I was like, I'll live there. Okay, yeah, I like that. I like all the Dear Media ones. They're
Me too, for sure.
good.
Caroline Sandberg's is great, of course.
Yeah, so good. Okay, if you were only allowed one item of makeup, what would it be?
Eyeliner,
Yes, eyeliner.
for sure. I always have to have my eyes like lined.
Current favorite Instagram account to follow?
I think it's called OOTD, Outfit of the Day, and it follows like what people are wearing in each city.
Yes, and then you can follow their account, can't you, and get straight into shopping and do their stuff. Yeah, it's really.
Yeah, and it'll say like, this is what the girls in Paris are wearing today. This is what the girls in New York are wearing. I love it.
Oh my God, we didn't even touch on that. That's a whole nother pod when you went to Paris.
Oh my gosh. I think I might be back soon. I think they might be.
Stop. We have to go to the Hendrix bar together.
Yes. Oh my God. It's so gorgeous at the Ritz.
Oh, it's so good. You guys were cracking me up there. Anyway, on the
Me and Glenn.
what's in your online shopping basket as we speak?
I have a big interview next week. Can't say too much about it, but it's something fun. So I'm currently shopping for an outfit for that. So I have a bunch of stuff in Revolve. Like I'm very into structured blazers at the moment, like shoulder pads, like feathers, just like embellished things. So like very bold kind of stuff. I think there's a couple of things from Retro Feet. You know
Oh
that
yes,
brand?
love
Mhm.
love it. They do all
Yeah.
the shoulder pads and also the other one that's good, but it's not so embellished or anything. It's very plain stuff. But Wardrobe NYC or NYC Wardrobe.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, they do a lot. It's very plain colors like blacks and stuff, but they do really good structured stuff. Rosie Huntington did a collab with them recently.
Okay.
I'm excited for this interview. I will be watching. I think I know this one. You are only allowed one luxury brand. What is it?
Oh, Chanel.
Ah,
Hands down.
nailed it. And okay, what's your definition of the ultimate celeb power couple?
Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell, you've got to give it to them. Speaking of not married, I mean, they have been together forever. I think they're adorable.
Yeah, Goldie Hawn. Oh, she's so good, isn't she? That is a great one.
Like they're so hot. They still look sexy even though they're older. Like I just love them.
Yeah, that is a really great one. I definitely think I know your answer to this one. Your TV personality that you would choose for yourself all day, every day.
Oh, maybe like Carrie.
You will, City. I knew it. Okay, and finally, Cara, ultimate girls' night, out or in? Where are you going? What are you doing? What are you eating? What are you drinking? Who's coming?
Okay, definitely out in New York City. making a couple of stops. We're having caviar and champagne for sure. Just actually no, we're gonna start a pastis. Oysters, like raw bar situation, champagne at the bar. Then we're gonna bounce over to a hotel bar. I don't know where. I have to think about that. Maybe the Soho Grand. I don't know. There's caviar involved. There's like a good DJ. There's more champagne, maybe a martini somewhere, dirty martini. And then we're ending the night with pizza, of course. We're having like a fat moment. We're gonna get some pizza. And then yeah.
And then see where the night takes us. Can I?
Yeah, well, that will be the end of the night. I think we'll do some bouncing around. I think we start with some snacks. We go to like the West Side, then we go to a hotel bar. We maybe like find ourselves somewhere else. And I don't go out that often. I mean, I have like a couple times a year it's in me.
Yeah.
But that's like for a glam night out for
Go
sure.
glam. I love
Mhm.
it. Cara, this has been everything. Thank you so much. I have loved it. I could literally talk all day and all night. Well, all night now here. But thank you. It really means so much because I know you've got so much on your schedule. So for fitting me in, it means so much.
This was one of my most fun interviews. So thank you for having me. I'm so proud of you for doing this, and it was so fun to be here.
Thank you. And I will share everything in the show notes, but please tell everyone where they can find you, where they can find your blog, everything so they can sign up like I did and love it.
Yeah, so my Instagram is just at the Champagne Diet. Podcast is Cara Says It All, and Substack is the same name. So if you search my name, everything's on my Instagram, my link in bio. You can find all the places.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Cara. You have a gorgeous day. I hope it's not too cold, and I shall speak to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. See you. Bye. So, guys, I told you that was going to be great. Did you enjoy it? I certainly did. Cara is just so great. Hopefully, you loved it. Please subscribe, rate, follow, share, and get ready because next week I'll be back with another great guest or a solo. And yeah, until then, get up, get dressed, grab your lip gloss, and let's get fabulous together. Thank you so much for listening.